Can just see my head, just see the, don't worry about my head, you need to see the table. So we're going to make some eclairs. Now I have done this on my Facebook page previously, but remember Facebook's deleting all of the live videos, etc. So we're going to lose that video. I did a recap video of it just recently. So today, because we know that this video is going to sit in my suite of videos here on my YouTube page, so it was a great time to redo it. And quite a few people had commented on the recap, yep, we'd love to see those done from scratch. First thing we're going to do is prepping our clay for our icing. Now I've got a big bag in my holder and I've got a nice, hey Betty, g'day Donna, how you going? Hey Alicia, hey Jennifer. We're getting our clay ready to make our icing. So we just want, how is everybody? We're making eclairs. My tooth is there. Hey Terry. My tooth is, like I can feel my tooth, but it's not super bad. It's bearable, which probably makes it harder to make that decision when you're dental phobic. Hey Stephanie, when you're dental phobic of getting a tooth extracted, but it's cracked, it needs to come out. Hey Joe, she didn't know how far down the crack was. It's got a hole in it as well, but it's cracked, and that was the main reason why I'm like, let's just take it out, because all depending on how far down that crack is, then they no guarantees are going to be able to save the tooth anyway. So I'm just like, no, let's do it. So we're going to get that done on Friday. So yeah, there'll be no live over on Facebook on Friday. Good morning, Denise. A big bag. This is a big bag. See that? I do like to get some big disposable bags. Yeah, that makes sense, hey? Because when you're doing things like this, you can, good morning. You got me on the big screen. Hey, Celia, good to see you here. Got plenty of room to just put a little bit of a gentle knot in there. Rochelle, we're doing the eclairs, darling. No hole here yet. A little bit of a knot up here that will keep that nice and workable for us. This is pipeable consistency. If you haven't seen the pipeable consistency done, go to the basics video and it's in there for you. Big screen for you too, Jennifer. I think, hey, is Donna on? Is Donna on? I think she said she was putting me on the TV too, but she can't comment from the TV. So once I've got that done, I've done some molding. I've made some little strawberries. Some have got the little tiny strawberry flower on them. And then I've done some little lemon slices, which I've cut and swirled. The ones I did on the Facebook one, they weren't swirled, but I've swirled these ones. To swirl them, all you're doing is cutting a slip. And then you're bending the clay, one back, one forwards, to get that little curl happening in your lemon slice. When I did the lemon, Terry, you watched it yesterday for the piping of the clay. Good girl. Good. Excellent. I hope that was helpful. When I do the lemon slices, it was done in this mold. Oh, yeah. You comment on your phone. That's a good idea. That paint is a game changer, right? That paint in the clay when it's really super sticky is a game changer. Yep, you're right. Donna! You commented and I'm on the big screen. I use the biggest of the lemon slice. I get a little tiny bit of my yellow clay. I roll it into a super fine rope, right? I just roll it around the outside of that little lemon, cut it off where it needs to be, then get a round piece of white clay, put it in the center and press it down nice and flat. And then that's how you get these little slices. But can you see I've taken a little tiny bit, really watery honey brown, and just done that center, because you know how sometimes they get that little bit of brown through the center, just so they're not so stark white, just gives them a bit of a contrast. And then I used that leaf, used the paint trick last week, blow your mind how well it worked. Awesome! So pleased that you're having really good results with that. Makes me so happy. Because that's the thing, right? That's the reality. Sometimes I don't know why. I don't know if it's weather. I don't know whether it's just a clay thing or whatever, but like, and it's not even that sometimes that the clay's old and it just goes sticky and it's like, oh man, it really reduces what you can do with it sometimes. I used that leaf, but I went to use a full thing. It was just way too busy. So I cut it into 3s and that's how I got the leaf. Now that does come with the strawberry, but I think this one here is a deeper strawberry. I think that mold there makes a deeper strawberry. So I molded the strawberry out of that, used one section of the leaf on that, and then I used the little flower out of that. And that is how I did these. And I just put them together all different. Some don't have the flower on, some do. Then for the lemon, see it's got this little thing. And I don't know if that's like supposed to be like a little lemon leaf or a little lemon center. Is that supposed to be a center? You're commenting via your phone. That's I think what Jennifer said she does. Now that I think about it, is this supposed to be, or is this supposed to be a star anise? Maybe this is supposed to be a star anise. Well, I've just done green leaves out of it. Oh, anywho. I think that's maybe supposed to be like a star anise, isn't it? Which would be normally brown. Oh, too bad. We got green ones. Celia, you can put it back in the bag a little bit, but I would recommend only like minimal amounts. It goes super rubbery, super hard. So I should tell you no, but like I have sometimes had a little tiny bit left over and I put it on the top of the bag and I have to mix a lot more of a lot softer clay back with it because it does go so rubbery. So, but do not make up big quantities of it and think, you know, it'll be good to use later. Sort of do it as you need it. Good morning, Tracy. So they're the molds I use, right? I use that for that star anise thing. That for the lemon slice, that for the deeper strawberry, that for the leaf, and that for the flower. So if for people coming on, they'll understand what molds I use. And either Shein or Temu, you can get those, or wherever you've got those sort of things available to you. So we're going to put that to the side because that's our embellishment. And now we have to start making our eclair. So I did one last night and I've got some cracks in it. This one here won't be a problem because we're going to put clay over the top. These ones here won't be a problem. We're going to put clay over the top. These ones here, oh, they're a little bit messy. They're a bit messy. I don't know what I'll end up doing. I'm not going to worry about them now. It all depends when it's finished. And it all depends like what will be going over the top of it, right? All right, let me get this done. So we're going to go with a pool noodle. Temu has not been as much fun. What? Now with the extra cost or something. Oh, love. Cheryl, hello, love. Can you see? I guess it does save you money, darling, yeah. And I guess that's the good thing, like, you know, I was at one stage getting some molds in and then I thought, well, I can't compete with the likes of a Temu or a Shein price-wise and stuff. But then now when you think about it, from a point of you could do an order and then you could just get a mold thrown in with your order, right? It makes it convenience. So maybe that's something I should like. Initially, I started getting molds and I was only getting ones that I use a lot, but maybe that's food for thought that I should do that. Anywho, so can you see I've cut this down a little bit so it's more oval rather than rounded? I just think it gives us a nicer eclair look. Rather than it being a big round, I think it gives us a nicer eclair look. So just slit some off. This was a pool noodle that had no hole in the middle, but it won't matter if it's got a little tiny hole. You almost cut it to the point where it doesn't have one. And then that's just been hot glued together, okay? So we're going to use some clay. This is number 31, like gingerbread. But I think it's a little bit too sort of orangey. Molds and glitter, yeah. Yep. Yeah, I've got to try and get glitter. You thought it was a sub sandwich, yeah. That's what it looks like? So this up the top, that I wouldn't be surprised if that didn't have at some stage a little bit of paint in it. Because man, that's stiff. And it's like really stiff. Like, I'm not exaggerating. Oh, hair. Really stiff. While it's so stiff, I'm going to add some white. Now my white is really soft. Perfect for piping. Absolutely perfect for piping. If you've got really rubbery clay, do not try and soften that down to pipe with. For some reason, it does not make a nice pipeable clay. Your clay package is beautiful. Awesome. And this is some pastel yellow that's a little bit stiff too. Just to change up that colour, just to lighten it and make it a little less orange and a little... That's why I do call it like gingerbread. Most of the others I've taken sort of like the gingerbread tone out of it because to me, a gingerbread colour is like a real mustardy type colour. None of my browns are mustard. Like this is really quite orange. But I did leave the gingerbread title in there. I almost did change it. And then I was like, I confused everyone enough with changing my names. Just remember my numbers never change. Man, that is so rubbery. It's going to take some getting that in, I can tell you. Now, I can't throw that back because I'm pretty sure I'm going to have some of this left over. Oh, I think I remember what happened last night. I think I might have had a piece of old cookie dough. This is what happened last night. Oh, ow, that hurt my arm. I had some cookie dough that was left over that was really rubbery. So I microwaved it to soften it down, mixed it in with that's why this one is a little bit marbled. Mixed it in with that. That's why the top of that bag was so rubbery. It was a piece of clay I'd microwaved. Sometimes you're better off probably just chucking them in the bin. But oh, we hate to waste, don't we? I find when my clay's really, really stiff, it's easier to drag it out this way than to try and knead it sometimes. And this arm's playing up again. But I don't know, it could be because I've been doing lots of woodwork or something, or just using it a heap maybe. Which I do have to do. I've got to go and clean my shipping container out today. Find heaps of room because my head's turning towards my Christmas setup, which means all my other decor's got to come down and I've got to have somewhere to store it. Are you accepting into your group? Cheryl, not at the moment, just through the 6 and the 12-month subscription. I will have to open up the monthly subscription soon, and I am planning a trip away with me and you girls in July, and I probably should do it at the beginning of July. I probably should open up the monthly subscription to the Christmas membership at the beginning of July. Hold me to that. Hold me to that. Isn't it gone so fast? Like, isn't it just going so ridiculously fast? We're just going to press this down a bit with our hand. Oh, Lord, Struth. That is firm. And I don't know why. A lot of times really soft clay will crack. A lot of times really rubbery, firm clay doesn't crack, but that one cracked, eh? It's always one of those things. It's always something. Just when you think you know what you're doing, right? This is not good because it's all sorts of different thicknesses, but it won't have a huge impact. I'm working that. Can you see me? I'm going to get our steel ruler and we're just going to cut this off because we know that thickness widthwise isn't going to work. 1 minute Mother's Day. I know. Just crazy. That's rubbery clay. Yeah, I'm going to be hurt and not hurt myself. I'll try not to hurt myself, darling. That's only just going to fit on there. So we're going to put it on here. Leave it over a little tiny bit. Oops. Give yourself a little bit of room to move. You can always cut off. It's easier to cut some off than it is to try and add some back on. We've got this bag here. Shove that excess back in that bag. And now we're going to get a paintbrush. Will that paintbrush fit in there okay? I'm just going to put PVA glue all over my pill noodle. Now, I like the pill noodle because it's cheap. Oh, yeah. You got your envelope package, did you? Yay! Thank you, Alicia, for explaining some details there to Cheryl. Look at the big hole I'm making in my clay with the end of this. I like the pill noodle because you can, it's inexpensive. You get a lot out of them. You can cut it to the length you want. But you could use a styrofoam round. Man, I made a mess of that. Now I'm just going to pop my brush up in that thing for a sec. I'm going to start wrapping this up. Now, when you've got clay, glue on your hands, get it off. Have a cloth or something beside you because you'll be amazed. You think, oh, it's not much residue there, but it sticks. I'll have to wipe my hands again. Oh, that does not want to stay there, and it's going to give me grief. Okay, this is the thing with your clay not coming off your counter very well. I did not put any oil on my countertop, which means my clay's not slipping off my counter easy, and it's stuck, which means it's harder for me to roll it around my pill noodle. Doesn't appreciate the fact that I'm live, right? It doesn't appreciate the fact that I'm live, and I would like this to go on neatly. No respect for me whatsoever, this project. So I just was lifting that by the ends where there's no glue, and that was a bit smarter. I'm going to cut this not exactly. Let's lift it up and have a look. See how much overhang we've got? That's probably a bit much. Trim it a little bit more. That's probably better. That's probably better. That's probably not too much to work in. That there, going back in our bag. So even though it looks like we use a ton of clay, it's amazing that we don't. How inconsiderate of that clay, Joe? I know. Does it not know we're live here? We just need things to go right. We're going to use a piece of EVA foam. Just don't know why. Feels like I need a slightly bigger piece of foam. It feels like I've got a bit of glue on the end of this. That's what it feels like. Now, if we make this the top, because the top's going to get covered with our icing, so it won't matter if it gets a little crack in it. And then we're pressing down, we're creating a natural flat bottom. Oh, you got it. You can't wait to try it. Oh, awesome. We're just smoothing our clay out with our foam. Like I said, it doesn't matter if we get a little bit of a flatter bottom on this. Has everyone been using their EVA foam to help smooth their clay out? That's not too bad. That's not too bad. Now we're going to cut those ends off. This way I've got to find the appropriate pair of scissors here. Even though these are my newer scissors. We're only cutting clay, but sometimes the other scissors I cut sticky tape with and they get that sticky residue. And it's one of those things that you go, you know, you're always either cleaning out piping bags, or you're cleaning out paintbrushes, or you're de-sticking your scissors. There's always something to maintain in the craft world, right? I don't know if I want to, I've got glue on my fingers, glue on my surface, glue somewhere, because it keeps getting on my hands. So I'm trying to lightly work this with a very light hand. And I pretty much did cut that off flat. How are you, Sue? I am, but after throwing my clay onto my new trolley and still have a tub full, I need to get cracking and use it. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Joe, we're going to do Q&A early because of my tooth. And so we're going to talk a lot about planning in that Q&A as well, which will benefit, because that will get you like super focused on, if you're not already. I'm not saying that you aren't already. You probably already are. But if you're not, it will definitely help to get you focused. Now, we're just rolling this out because we're going to need 2 little ends. And I've just got to get my little cutter. I think you're better off going smaller for the ends. Now we're done with that. I have before done like a bigger circle than I needed and tried to blend it in, but I think smaller works well. Although the way that one there cracked, who knows? Who knows? Just going to take our paintbrush. Just paint some glue on there. Try not to get too much right on the edge though, because it gets super messy. And you're just going to put your little circle on there. Bring it over to the edge here. And I'm just going to use this part of my hand and sort of blend that around. You can see there I've got a bit of glue coming out. I'm not sure today. I've got both icings. I haven't done both icings, so I don't know. Normally I would leave this eclair to dry. Because I don't normally put like the wet clay on the wet clay, as in the icing on the wet base. I normally let the base dry. So I'm not real sure. We could, I mean, I've got my lemons ready to go and I probably do want to see it done. Yeah, maybe I'll do it, but I will do it expecting that I'm going to get separation. Just got to clean my hand where I've got a little bit of glue coming out. Now I'm just going to use a little square of, again, EVA foam sheeting. And I'm just going to press around where I've created that join. Oh, pill noodle there. I can see the pill noodle come back out. Just got to make sure we've got that covered. Try and blend that join in pretty good, because that is what's going to stop it from separating out and getting a big crack. I expect this to crack. I can just see the way that's joined. I can see the way that's joined, that's potentially going to crack, but I'm not worried about that because, like I said, I'm going to cover it with icing. And again, I'm going to do the same on the other end. Took all this time just to make the base. And the only reason we're putting the glue down is it does help to try and prevent bubbles in between your clay and your surface. So you can see that circle is really considerably smaller than my eclair actually is, but I'm just going to keep pressing it. And this side's going to get messy because it's got a bit of glue already poking out from there. So don't be surprised, we've got to keep wiping that hand off. Try not to get too much glue, too much moisture in there, because the more you do, the stickier it's going to get. And then the worse it is to work with, right? So can you see the way that I'm pressing that out? Now, when I'm not on a live, I don't care how long it takes me to do this. I only ever, like, if I'm on a live, start going, you know, I'm boring them to death and probably fast track it. But if I was just here crafting, got a movie on or whatever, I'm watching a doco or whatever, then I don't care how long it takes me to do that properly. But I probably don't spend as much time making it super neat when I'm on a live as what I would do if I was just crafting in my own time. So if you're crafting in your own time, what I'm saying there is, if you're crafting in your own time, take as long as it needs. This side got a little bit dinged up because it was the side that was down. Okay, now typically I would leave that to dry. But for today's demonstration, let's get rid of the rolling pin, let's get rid of the scissors. I don't think we need them now. Because this is a tutorial and we're sort of showing the steps, we're going to do the painting now. So we're just going to make up a little tiny temporary palette with a little bit of foil. Going to get some honey brown, Decor Americana. Honey brown, a little bit. We are going to put a little tiny bit of light buttermilk. I've got craft everywhere. The UFOs I've got, I so need to do an auction. It takes time to plan an auction. I'm just going to go in with a big round brush. And then one of my favorite brushes is a huge, big 1-inch angled shader. That brush now has surpassed its ability to paint nicely with. I can still use it, but to do really nice shading with. So I don't throw brushes like that. They're so expensive. So then you use them for the next craft. So first thing I'm going to do is just roughly go around with some light buttermilk and create my cooking line. Fair bit of water in that. Somebody just said something, I'm pretty sure they did. I saw that flash by. I'm just going to draw a real small line to start. And that's wonky. That is wonky. Just tip it up. And now just straighten that up. Just keep working that paint on that wet clay. Paints beautifully. It just sticks to the clay really, really nicely. You don't want it too up the top because you're going to put your icing on and you're going to limit yourself. If you want to be able to see this line, you're going to limit yourself to how much icing you can put on. And if you want a fair bit of colour on it, you're going to need to. Remember, it's hard for me to see any comments asking me questions, and I get that you guys are just chatting, which is brilliant. Go for it. So I will stay on for a little bit at the end of the craft for anyone that had any questions. If you've got questions, I didn't see them, and you don't get to ask them at the end, make sure you go back and ask them on the replay, because I do try and answer everybody that comments on the replay. That line's not perfect, but this is a good demonstration of it doesn't have to be. So if you're scared of picking up a paintbrush, you think, oh my Lord, I'm not good at painting, you don't have to be. Remember, the oil line isn't perfectly straight anyway. And I don't even think that proper eclairs, because they're choux pastry, they're not deep fried like a donut. But this just gives us a really cute aesthetic on it. So, I mean, if we're going to get, like, you know, serious about the authenticity of it, then it doesn't really have one of them on it anyway. Going in with my big brush now, picking up my honey brown. So can you see that? I'll start down the bottom. And I'm just bringing the dark line, the darkest part of my line, up to my white that I just painted, or my light buttermilk colour that I just painted on there. Do this one. Do the lens, and then I'll show you what that looks like. I'm going to slip into the salvage shop after I've done this, because I'm working on a project for me and you, and I just want a piece of old timber. So I'm going to duck out after this, and then I've got to come home and do some patterns and do the shipping container. But it's beautiful weather for it. So see what that looks like? See the difference between the before and the after, like the clay before and then the clay after. So now we're going the other way. We're going dark line down towards the white from the top. So we did the bottom line. This one's the top line. I do like painting my clay too. I think it stabilizes it really, really well. When I did those glam donuts, they were all painted. And it just makes the clay feel so nice and solid. This donut's been cooked a while. Oh, well, it's not a donut, is it? It's like a long donut. It's actually supposed to be an eclair. It's been cooked a while. Everything that comes out of the KJ Decorates Fake Bake Kitchen seems to have been cooked for a while, because honey brown is my favourite cooking colour. And so it has a tendency, I've just got a little bit of a mess here, has a tendency to be baked for a while. This will be my only live video this week, simply because somebody just said something. I don't know if he's still chatting, so sorry, I missed that. This will be my only live video this week. Because I wasn't live the other day, I had to go and make went into the dentist. If they had the gas available, they would have pulled that tooth on Monday. Only that the gas wasn't available, and I was not having a tooth extracted without getting gas. I don't think I need this anymore. I'm going to put that. I hope I don't need it anymore, because that will annoy me. It makes such a difference, doesn't it? It makes such a difference just doing that line on it. Now we're ready to do the fun stuff. So I'm going to start working on this one. This one's a lot drier. It was done yesterday. That brush there with the glue on it needs just I do need that again, but I'm just putting it in water to stop it from drying out. I'm just going to get rid of these two brushes. Just give myself some space. Clean my bench. Let's go with the pink. Just Just going to roll out a little rectangle. This is number 3, Party Pink. I was thinking today too, a purple would be nice with blueberries on it. Oh, I have to get gas at the dentist. Yeah, no need to try and be a hero. I'm not. And that's when they start trying to pressure me, because, you know, you're a woman, you've had children, and we go through so much to have our kids. And, like, if they say to you, you need this, or whatever, to have a kid, you're just like, yeah, whatever. I just want a healthy baby. So you just do anything. But, like, no, these will probably go in the auction because I'm changing things up this year for the house. So these will probably go in the auction whenever I get to have an auction. I'm going to put a little bit of oil down. That's just a little bit tacky. So, yeah, I'm definitely like, and if they try and make me feel guilty, I'm like, yep, you're not my dentist. You're not my dentist. I don't need a dentist that's going to make me feel bad, right? I just need them to do what they got to do and cause me the least amount of pain as possible. I think that's what's always had it. Every time I tend to go into the dentist, it's been in an emergency situation where there's lots of pain involved, and it's like, I ain't exposing myself to that again. So it sort of, you know, really puts you off, right? I've only got my little rolling pin. I don't need a huge amount of pressure, and it's still sticking. But like I said, unfortunately, I've got a little tiny bit of glue residue. No, I need the medium size. Go the medium size rolling pin, which is around about a 30-35 centimetre one. A lot of people, when they get their first rolling pin, starts with a little tiny acrylic one, but I'd start with this size, guys. So I have 3, and I probably use this one and the big one the most. So this is about a 35 centimetre, and the big one's about a 50 centimetre, and I use those the most. I don't use the baby one much because it doesn't have a lot of weight in it, and anything that I find, see how sticky that is? Soft it is, it's not sticky, but and I usually find anything that is that small that I would tend to use the small rolling pin on. I use a tin lid because I can easily press it down. I'm just going to straighten that up. We're going to get a bit of going to put our eclair alongside it so that we get a little bit of a guide of what length we want to cut this. And we're honestly just cutting it into a rectangle. As we put it on, it will create its sides and stuff. Now, we don't want it too wide though, that it's going to cover too much of our design. I'm just going to cut an absolute smidge off that. Now, yours is not going to be the same, but just to give you a bit of an idea, that's about 3.5 inches. It's about 9 centimetres. I think it's a bit too long. So I've cut my eclair, this, when it's covered, that's about 26 centimetres. So my pool noodle wouldn't be 26 centimetres long. Because the pool noodle is probably, in all reality, up around about there. So it's maybe 24. I don't think that's too bad. We're going to put PVA. That's why it doesn't matter if the top of this is cracked, because the icing's covering it. Now, which side of this looks the nicest? That side there looks pretty nice. I feel like it's still way too long though, guys. I'm going to cut that edge off because that edge's a little bit messy. Now, remember, you can always put a piece of glad wrap over this before you start. Still feel like it's a tad long. You can always put a piece of glad wrap before you put the glue on. Put a piece of plastic wrap over that just to get your size right, so your clay's not sticking. Now we're going to lay that on. I'm going to press it down, and as we press this down, it sort of starts making its own little icing wave. We don't want it dramatic. We don't want it like a big drip, like a donut drip. But as icing like is spread neatly over the top of an eclair, it does have a little bit of a wavy sort of a pattern on it. Now we can get our little piece of foam. I probably want one a little bit longer than that. It's creating a couple of little marks in there, so a longer piece of foam would have been better. But don't worry about the middle too much because we're going to put icing on it. So there's our strawberry eclair started. There's our strawberry eclair started. I am going to coat that with PVA, but I might get the lemon one on first. Let's get the lemon one done. But remember, the lemon one is going, oh, I can't put the sprinkles on the lemon one. It could double as a ginger bun too, yeah. I don't know that I know what a ginger bun, obviously it's ginger. You know what? I don't think I'm going to do the lemon one. I think I'll finish the lemon one off in a short video. And the reason being is because even though this is not super dry, it's surface dry, not dry all the way through, it's surface dry. Should be able to use my hot glue gun and put my sprinkle line down on there. That one over there, I'm not going to be able to do that. The only way I could do that one is if I used clay, and I don't want to do that. So we're not going to do the lemon one, which is a bugger because I really wanted to see the lemon twists on it. But hey, you've got to work the product, right? The product's not ready. Oh, a finger bun. Yep, a finger bun, not a ginger bun. Right. Now I know what you're talking about. Yes. Yes, so true. I repurpose a lot of, especially my really big pieces of parchment paper like this. I just constantly repurpose them. I'm going to use flanberry on this. Could make the halves. What did somebody just say about the halves? Fat finger syndrome, girl. No, it's that autocorrect gets you every time, right? Who said that about the halves? Because we did sort of do the matchstick ones and then filled the middle of them. So I have done those before. Now I'm just going to run some hot glue. And I should have got another glue stick out. So remember, this hot glue will not stick to my wet clay. So I'm really only trying to get this They will stick to my wet clay though, and I don't want that. And I don't want that. Just be careful. Maybe I'll put a finger guardy thingy on. Watch me be careful. Can I find one? This one will do. It's not the best one, but it'll do. Who's proud of me right now? Who's like, I've never seen her be so careful. And I'm just pressing that into my hot glue line. See that? Woo! I'll just scoot them down a little bit because I want to roll this over and do this side. And I don't want any loose sprinkles because this clay is still soft enough that they're embedding into it. We don't want that. Well, you've got a piece of pearl noodle. Oh no, look at me go. It is. It is. It's a replication of what I did on Facebook because that video is going to get deleted. So this one will stay. I did a recap of the eclair video from Facebook yesterday and a lot of people said, yep, we'd love to see those remade. I did the same of that little gingerbread girl cup as well. People said they'd like to see that one redone too. And it's good for me because when I'm re-seeing the crafts, I'm like, oh yes, I need to make that again. Because you've got to remember, like, as you go, your techniques get better. It'll be interesting to see if the clay that I pipe on this one on the top is a lot neater than the first one I did. Because I think my piping skills are better now than they were before. And in the first one I was using spackle, I wasn't using air dry foam clay at a piper ball consistency. So yeah, I think my crafting has definitely, you know, come a long way since I've probably done that craft as well. So now I've got sprinkles down there. I'm going to try not to press this too hard into my rolling pin that they embed in there. There's little buggers. Yeah, so many, right? So many good crafts that I've done. I mean, what have I been on Facebook now? 4 years or something like that. It's only natural, isn't it? A lot of the first, like a lot of the, what do you reckon I was doing sort of like everyday crafts? Was I 2 years in when I got the clay and I started working with clay more? Because I used to do some fake bake stuff, but it wasn't with air dry foam clay because at that stage we couldn't really get, like it wasn't super popular and it certainly wasn't easy to get in Australia. That's flanberry. That's a good mixture, isn't it? That's a great mixture. Gonna get our paper plate. Yeah, I've got some great non-crafts too. Yeah, I should put them up, hey. I should do recaps of them because we're going to lose those. We're going to lose those and I won't paint them again. I won't paint those again. Like, there were some really good painting crafts done on the public page. Yeah. So again, we're just going to do this. So I am going to leave my lemon eclair to dry a bit so I can glue. Yeah. Yeah, before your time. Yep, definitely. I'll do that. You love the woodwork. This one's a little bit harder to get those ones on there. Yeah, I'll definitely do those as recaps because I won't paint them again on the public page. That's for sure. I did do one, Joe. Remember that gingerbread I did with the lollipop on it? Have you done yours yet, or do I need to save that video for you? Let me know, Joe. Did anyone else buy that wood kit? I'll have to do that. I'll find that video and I'll put that up as a recap so people know what I'm talking about. When I say I do recaps, the recaps are over on Facebook. They're not on YouTube. We're on YouTube at the moment. They're on my Facebook page. Reindeer blocks. Oh, yeah, the gingerbread with the lollipop and what? The clay what? Yep. Yeah, we're going to do a nice piping on the top. You've done your gingy with the lollipop, right? Cool. Awesome. I think doing the hot glue, your sprinkle, that one got me. That one got me. Pull off a little bit of skin where you pull that hot clay glue off. I think using the hot glue, you can get your sprinkles a little bit more preciser. Because when you use the hot glue like sets quicker. Whereas if you do clay to put those on, it spreads a bit more. So you'll end up with your sprinkle line going a little bit bigger. That's pretty neat. Yeah, that hurts, eh? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I've got a couple of wild ones up in here which aren't too bad, but I've lost quite a few sprinkles from here, so I'm just going to put a little bit more hot glue in, which you can definitely do, right? Let's get this thing back on. One glue burns enough. All right, I think we're happy with that. Flanberry, absolutely beautiful. The first time I did it on Facebook, I used a sprinkle mix called Berry Bliss, and I think I'm completely sold out of it now. But if you've got Berry Bliss in your stash, trust me, it's beautiful. It is beautiful. So for the lemon one, we're going to use lemon on that. And I'll put that up as a short video on YouTube, but I'll do it. I won't do it under the basics. I'll do it under a tutorial. Look at that. I got myself. Look at it. I got myself. Don't you worry about that. Got to be so sticking careful, right? And the other thing is to probably use a low temp glue gun, not a high temp. Right? Use a low temp glue gun, not a high temp. I don't think I need hot glue anymore now that I've decided not to do that one. So I'm going to turn it off because I've left my glue gun on overnight 2 times lately. 2 times lately. First time was this hot glue one and the second time was a low temp. I know, I got myself. Don't you worry about that. Right, this is gone. Isn't it amazing when you watch those recap videos and what, in about 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes, something like that, you do a craft, whereas you do it in real time with all the bits in between. And, you know, we're looking at an hour and a half or whatever, and sometimes some prep's already done. It's amazing, isn't it? That's the danger of YouTube videos. It stuffed itself up. Oh, it shuts itself off. Oh, that's good. That's a good one. That's a good one. Isn't it amazing? That's the danger of YouTube videos, girls. Yeah, but sometimes you find it sets too fast. Yep, that's right, because it's heating at a much lower temp. Okay, are you ready? I think we're ready for icing. So we're going to get some plastic wrap. So cling wrap, saran wrap, all depends what country you're watching from as to what you'll call it, but it's just plastic wrap. Let's do a long piece. We're going to end up having to cut that off, but at least if we've got it longer, it's better longer than shorter. And I'm just going to go more into pinks into reds in this. Now, I'm not going to be fancy the way I do this. Now, one thing that I did think about is because I'm putting paint on this plastic, it will soften down my clay a little bit. So don't make your clay too loose. I don't even know if there's any paint in this. This is called True Red. So the first paint I used was Bubblegum Pink. That's True Red. And this is Lipstick Red. This is Faux. This is a multi-surface satin paint. Oh, man. So the paint will soften your clay. So don't make your clay too soft to pipe with. And when I do the yellow, I'm going to do the same principle. But like I said, I will put that up as a short video for you guys. Well, you're off to a winery or something. Now I'm just going to blend these in. Like I'm just going to smear these out. I'm going to tell you the True Red. The True Red was very, very close in colour to that Lipstick Red. And I haven't spread them out super, super well. But I've just created like this line. Try and keep my plastic wrap nice and straight. And then we're going to get this. Just pop it down into a cover bag just to help me be able to squeeze. I'm going to squeeze, I'm going to get a pretty decent sort of a, see where I get those real big bags? I'm going to cut a pretty decent size hole in this bag. I'm actually going to cut up there as high as I can go, just so I can get a lot of clay out at one time. So last time I did this on the recap yesterday, you would have saw me use spackle. And I told you it was spackle in the video. And I spooned it on. I think this is definitely an easier way of doing that. Now, because I want that for later, just going to get one of these little bags that I had on the roll. I don't use these ones on the roll anymore because it's got quite a big seam in them, and I find the seam gets in my way because a lot of times I do a lot of piping stuff and I don't use nozzles. So I'm just going to put that over there, and that's just going to help to keep that there from drying out too much. We're going to wrap this over. Now I found that like that. Now it doesn't matter like with the end that's up the top. Let's put a little knot in that. But the end that's down here, let's snip that off, get rid of that, like sausage that up. The end that's down here, right, let's give that a squeeze up, make that a little bit fatter, like so. We're going to cut this, probably shouldn't have made that so fat. Probably should have made it a little bit more coming down into a point to get it down into my piping bag, down onto my nozzle, I'm thinking. But we want to cut that up where the clay is, because that plastic I found before gets in the way of my nozzle and stops me being able to pipe. So we're going to take a normal piping bag and we're going to put like this teardrop shape. See how bent that is? I don't know if it was meant to be bent or not, or if it got bent in shipping. I don't know. I would have just got these from Temu. But I think it'll still give me the look that I want. I don't want to cut that too short because I don't want that popping off. And now we're just going to drop our little icing sausage down into there. Now, I think I will put it in a cover bag because I find my cover bags aren't as slippery as these little crinkle disposable bags. These ones get really, really slippery. Sometimes it's hard to grip. And what I want to do is I want to pipe this and get my paint coming out up the top. See that? Can you see my paint's on the top? That's what I want. Just going to use a bit of damp paper towel. Make sure I'm starting off with a nice clean nozzle. I'm going to bring we should get a EVA foam sheet and put that on there so that we're not having to pick it up so much. I'm going to try and pipe this straight down the center and neat. Now what I could do, because my pink is still a bit soft, what I could do is give myself some guidelines here. And I sort of want to get my piping, obviously I have to get my piping over those lines now. See that? Give myself a bit of a guide, that might help me to stay a bit straight. Oh, no, is that going to stay up? How much am I going to see? I'm seeing my reds and pinks on the way back. And I'm really folding this one over dramatically. I think, I'm just going to have to stop there in the center. I think I'm a lot more confident, like, to throw that icing on than when I did the first one. Look. Nice, right? But again, got to make sure. I feel like I'm upside down, Miss Jane. I feel like I wasn't holding it that way. There we go. More pressure you put on it, the more it's going to wrinkle. I think I love that. That's pretty, right? The first one I did, I used pinks, but this one I've used more reds for the strawberries. Is that nice, Pat? Now we're going to embellish it. She's a bit lopsided. And I'm just going to go through and put my little strawberries. I'll start working my ones with my little flowers on them. Well, how about I just throw that? Okay, I've got two. I've got, where do I want these to go? Maybe I don't. Maybe I'm just going to go some plain ones. And then I've got three more. I could do three down the centers. I don't know if it needed it. I think it was pretty busy already. There's a lot of molded strawberries on there. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? One strawberry eclair. Now, glitter. Super fine, or will we go super fine, or we might go a little bit more colourful? What do you reckon? What do you think? It looks delicious. We might do super fine over the top. Let's go super fine over the top. And maybe I might put a more colourful, oh, I've got a big glue thingy there. But I think I might let that settle overnight and then put a different glitter. Yeah, fine. Yep. Let's do a fine over here, because that way we're not going to take away from our piping too much. I think I do want to get it down the sides though. Let's hold it this way. That's why if you can get, oh look. Oh, I forgot to put the glue on that. I forgot to put the PVA on that. Putting the PVA on that makes that really, really shine and probably would stop that separation. I forgot to do that. I'll have to make sure I remember to do that on the lemon one. I was supposed to put a big layer of PVA over the top of that pink icing. Two reasons. Number one, it makes it look glazed. And number two, like I said, it'll probably help stop any separation between the wet pink and the icing. Makes you hungry for something sweet. Yep. Pretty, right? Isn't that so pretty? If you want yours to look a lot more pink, then use pink paint. I only used one pink paint, and then I went into reds. Forgot all about that, I know. I forgot all about that and only remembered at the end. But I'll try and remember it for the yellow one so that you see the difference as well. But like I said, I need that one to settle. And whether I end up, all depending. Okay, so what will happen here is if I end up with a big crack line, a separation line between my wet piping and my wet pink, then I would use, yep, I'll show you. Then I'll probably put another glitter over the top of that to disguise it. Now I have got some cracks down the bottom, but I don't know if they just look authentic. Like it looks like your shoe pastry is just cracked. Because to try and cover those in, you probably should have done that before you construct everything. I could triple thick it when it's dry, but I really wanted the PVA to help to stop that separation line, Susan. So PVA glue is this white glue that I'm using. Now in Australia, we can get school glue, white school glue. This in particular is PVA wood glue. So if I go to the hardware, I just get PVA. I just go to the hardware and buy PVA, which is a wood glue, a white wood glue. Okay, and that's what I always use, PVA. Anywho, a couple of things I forgot to do on that. Blast it. But you know what? Again, it's a good way of finding out how does the product perform, right? What should we do? And it gives me options then for the yellow version. Anywho, stay tuned for that one. I might try and get the yellow one out for Sunday. So I got a donut video to come up about doing the lines, but now that I've just done it on the eclairs, now I'll do it as a short video in the basics so that if somebody wants to draw their donut line, all they got to do is go to that real short video and get that. See you, Chase. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Like I said, I won't see you on Facebook on Friday because I'll be in getting a tooth ripped out of my head. And then I'll see what the I'm sure I should be right to go for the Monday, but anyway, have yourselves an amazing day, evening, all depending where you're watching from. I'll talk to you later. Bye, guys. I'm going to come around that side. See you, Delma. See you, Denise. See you, Leisha. Yeah, thank you, Dylan. I'll talk to you tonight. Leisha, I'm live in me and you to do a craft tonight, Dylan. And then in the morning, and then tomorrow morning, we're doing the Q&A. I'll come around then so I don't have to reach over. Talk to you all later. Bye, guys.